here you have Joe Biden, who, if you watch that hostage video, you remember Bernie did that hostage live stream with Biden when he dropped out? They did a little live stream together. And Biden said, "Do you have any questions, Bernie?" And Bernie said, "Yeah, Joe, in fact, I do. Will you pledge to support a $15 minimum wage?" That's my Bernie accent. And Joe said, "Absolutely, absolutely." That's really the main thing that Bernie pushed for Biden to support. He knew that Biden wasn't going to support Medicare for all. He knew he's not going to get him on the Green New Deal, canceling student debt. So he pushed him on a $15 minimum wage. And Biden said all of these progressive things about a $15 minimum wage. But now, all of a sudden, well, about that $15 minimum wage. Biden privately tells governors minimum wage hike likely is not happening, at least right now. This is from Politico. While Joe Biden met with a group of mayors and governors last week, he bluntly told them to get ready for a legislative defeat. His proposed minimum wage hike was unlikely to happen, he said, at least in the near term. Quote, "I really want this in there, but it just doesn't look like we can do it because of reconciliation," referring to budget reconciliation. Biden told the group, according to a person in the room, quote, "I'm not giving up. I'm not going to give up, but right now we have to prepare for this not making it." The comments, which were confirmed by two other people familiar with the conversation, were the furthest Biden has gone in conceding the coming axing of the $15 an hour minimum wage provision from his first major legislative package, and they suggest that the president is more inclined to manage the fallout of it not being included than to pursue long-shot political capital-consuming efforts to fight for its insertion. Sitting in the Oval Office with Republicans and Democrats elected officials last Friday to advocate for his $1.9 trillion COVID relief package, he didn't hide his skepticism. Quote, "Doesn't look like we can do it," he said of the minimum wage hike. So where do you even begin with this horse shit? Excuse my French. First of all, the Congressional Budget Office has said you can put the $15 minimum wage in as part of budget reconciliation. Senator Bernie Sanders' bill to hike the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour would increase the deficit by $54 billion over a decade. Who cares? Congress's independent budget scorekeeper estimated Monday. The prediction of a deficit pileup could work in Sanders' favors as he fights to include the minimum wage increase in the package that Democrats are crafting to enact Biden's $1.9 trillion economic relief. Under the fast-track budget process that Democrats could use to clear the aid package with just 51 votes in the Senate, the bill must have a direct and substantial impact on federal spending, revenue, or the debt. So the Congressional Budget Office score is a boon for Democrats fighting for the minimum wage hike to be included, even if Biden cast doubt on whether it would pass muster under Senate rules. Quote, "What this means is that we could clearly raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour under the rules of reconciliation," Bernie said. Quote, "Let's be clear. We are never going to get 10 Republicans to increase the minimum wage through regular order," said Sanders, chair of the Senate Budget Committee. "The only way to increase the minimum wage to $15 an hour is to pass with 51 votes through budget reconciliation." So you know what this really is, folks? You know the bullshit technicality that the Republicans used not to convict President Trump, which he should have been convicted, by the way. They said, well, you know, the Constitution says you can only convict a sitting president. You can't remove a president who's not in office anymore. You have tons of constitutional scholars who say that's not true. You can. So essentially, Joe Biden is using a technicality that's not even true. The CBO has scored the $15 minimum wage. They have said it has a budgetary effect. They claim it would increase the budget deficit of $54 billion over 10 years. Whatever. Modern monetary theory, that's all smoke and mirrors anyway. We have the money. We print the money for war. We print the money for tax cuts, deregulation for Biden's donors, McConnell's donors. So let's print the money for working people for once, huh? How about that? So Biden is totally full of shit. Excuse my French. It can be included in budget reconciliation. But I think the key in that political story was he doesn't want to use the political capital, i.e. fight, for something that Biden, corporate Democrats like Pelosi, Schumer, Dick Durbin, Steny Hoyer, all of these corporate Neanderthals don't see as an urgent priority. Well, I would say if they leave Washington and they go talk to the Uber drivers, or they go talk to the McDonald's workers, or they go talk to the workers at Walmart, Target, Whole Foods, we could go on and on and on, they would tell you it is an urgent priority to raise the minimum wage to $15. And why this is so disastrous, it wouldn't even be raised to $15 right away. We're talking 2025 it would be raised. So that's if it passed today. You're not getting it till 2025, which I don't agree with in the first place. I don't know why Bernie Sanders agreed with that in the first place. By 2025, if you're looking at inflation, the minimum wage, connected to inflation, it should already be today closer to $22, $23 an hour. In 2025, it's probably going to be closer to $26, $27 an hour if we're adjusting for inflation over the last 3 decades. So this is ridiculous. He's not telling the truth, i.e. lying. And why? Again, I hate to single just Bernie Sanders. I hate to single just Bernard Sanders because it's not just Bernie. What are these people doing? Colin Tooley with the amazing graphic. AOC, she's doing great things for Texas. We credit her. She's done way more than Ted Cruz, who was too busy getting on a flight to Cancun. A Neanderthal he is. I hope Larry Sheridan, my father, isn't watching because I'm cursing a lot today. But AOC, credit to her. She is doing a lot for Texas. But what are you doing otherwise? Where is AOC on Biden backtracking on a $15 minimum wage? Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, Ro Khanna, Pramila Jayapal, Mark Pocan, newly elected Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush, Marie Newman, Mondaire Jones. If there is a God, Nina Turner will join them. Like, where is the progressive fight? Where is it? I'm not relitigating forced to vote. We're talking about active moonwalking by Biden. We're talking active moonwalking. Now, there's a lot of things that we need fight. So, you could say Jordan, devil's advocate, they're busy doing other things. Well, what are they busy doing? You have a president of the United States who, one of the few promises he made that were anywhere near progressives was a $15 minimum wage. And now he's saying, oh, no, the Senate parliamentarian, I don't think it works in budget reconciliation. Give me a break. Can you imagine? Do you think a President Donald Trump or a President Tom Cotton or a President Paul Ryan, even a President Mitt Romney would say, I really want those tax cuts for corporations, but according to Senate procedure, it won't work through budget reconciliation. Do you know that Trump's $1.8 trillion tax blow job to corporations and his donors, they use budget reconciliation for? But again, Bernie, quiet as a mouse. AOC, quiet as a mouse. All of them, quiet as a mouse. And I just have a genuine question. I'm not doing this for clicks. I'm not doing this to be contrarian. I'm not doing this just to be adversarial against the progressives, because I'm a progressive. On the policies, I'm with all of them. Bernie, AOC, Roe, Pramila Jayapal, Cori Bush, who I've met in person and I really, really like. She has an amazing story. But the question is, why? That is really the question. Why are you not fighting? I'm not talking about physically fighting or violence. I'm talking about what is the risk of publicly shaming President Biden for breaking his promises, for totally unnecessarily saying we can't put this $15 minimum wage in the budget reconciliation process that we're putting the COVID relief. What is the risk? You're the budget chairman, Bernie. He can't move you to the back anymore. Like, what is the risk? You don't have Trump as a threat anymore. He's not going to threaten you from Mar-a-Lago. Okay? Biden's president, and we were promised by the progressives, let's get Trump out, and then we fight him on day one. Well, he's already moonwalking on 25 things. Did you hear his ridiculous answer to that woman who asked him about canceling student loan debt? She says, why are you stopping at 10,000? I think at a bare minimum, we need to do 50,000. He answers very, very firmly, I will not do that. He also, Andy Cooper didn't challenge him on this, but he also said, I took executive action to temporarily halt foreclosures. That's a tell. That is a tell, my friends. He's temporarily halting foreclosures during the pandemic. Well, what happens when the pandemic is over? What happens when the pandemic is over for foreclosures, for evictions? He's temporarily doing these things. So is Biden going to stop the mass crisis that's looming of evictions, foreclosures? His BFF, President Obama, didn't. Obama let the banks foreclose on millions of people who were preyed on by Wall Street during the 2008-2009 financial crash. It seems like President Biden is saying, yeah, I'm putting a Band-Aid here, eviction moratorium, foreclosure moratorium. That's a good thing. It's good that Biden has those things in now for a temporary halt, credit to him. But what about a permanent? Why should people be foreclosed if they lost their jobs through a pandemic that was no fault of their own? Why should people be evicted? Why should people have to pay rent during a deadly pandemic? Why can't Biden just print the money? You're printing the money for 20 years in Afghanistan at this point. Literally 20 years in Afghanistan this year. Tony, we are living in a third term of Obama. I actually think it's worse. I think this is going to be worse than Obama because I think Biden's actually more to the right than Obama. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.